Good evening, Rhode Island. I'm Jessica Dela Cruz, and I have the honor of serving as the State Senate Republican leader. More importantly, I'm blessed to be the mother of 3 boys who are the reason I ran for office, to make Rhode Island a place where they will want to raise their own families. Like you, I just heard Governor McKee do his best to paint an optimistic picture of the health of our state. But one thing was abundantly clear. Despite the governor's best of intentions, some of the outcomes under his administration have been abject failures. Unfortunately, the state of our state under Governor McKee has been deeply troubled. In just over a year, many long neglected and avoidable problems have led to critical failures. The Washington Bridge catastrophically failed, adding hours to already miserable traffic jams. And while the gridlock is bad, even worse is the closing of small businesses whose owners have sacrificed weekends, vacations, and holidays to keep the doors open during hard times. Rhode Island's hospitality industry lost $114 million in revenue and 1,300 jobs because of the bridge failure. This was avoidable, but how many of those vital businesses are closed forever because of the negligence of our government? Weeks ago, hackers stole Social Security numbers and other personal information from Rhode Island's IT system used for public benefits. This program went massively over budget, with computer errors denying families their health benefits, and has been burdened by crashes, glitches, and lawsuits. And now, over 700,000 people in our state have had their entire lives for sale on the dark web. To add insult to injury, Deloitte, the exact company that was paid hundreds of millions of dollars to build this failed IT system, is now managing its own data breach. That's an insult to the taxpayers checking their credit score every morning because the governor failed to have the necessary cybersecurity measures in place. We should expect our government to do a good job the first time, but at the very least, our tax dollars should never reward failure. Although the governor has yet to release his fiscal 2026 budget proposal, he has already signaled his plans to incorporate the assault weapons ban, a move that is completely out of place in a budget. If the governor wants to push gun control, perhaps he needs a civics lesson. Legislation is crafted and debated by the General Assembly, by senators and representatives, not hidden in the state's budget. He should either run for legislative office or collaborate with lawmakers rather than sidestepping the legislative process and using the budget as a tool for activism. To make matters worse, mismanagement of critical systems highlights the deeper issues plaguing our state: the reckless overspending of taxpayer dollars and the poor management of the money we do spend. Ask yourself, have the billions of dollars paid by you, your family, and your neighbors been used wisely and efficiently? Consider housing. A report by the Rhode Island Public Expenditure Council, RIPEC, found that we spent $273 million to produce just 1,600 new affordable housing units, with subsidies exceeding $160,000 per unit. That is not an efficient use of taxpayer dollars. And education is no better. Rhode Island spends among the highest per pupil in the nation, yet only 30% of our students are proficient in English and math. That means 70% of children in our state cannot meet basic academic standards. And our infrastructure? U.S. News & World Report ranks Rhode Island 47 for bridges, 49 for roads, and dead last for transportation. But ask anyone who's driven in our state, especially across the Washington Bridge, and they would argue that those scores are better than we deserve. These rankings confirm what Rhode Islanders experience every day. Our state is failing to deliver on the basics. But imagine for a moment a different Rhode Island, a state where tax dollars are spent wisely, one that maintains bridges so they don't fail, and sensitive personal information is safeguarded. A proactive government that clears the way to open shelter doors for those in crisis, a government that overcomes climate hysteria and works to lower the cost of electric and heating bills through more sensible energy policies. And I see a state government that focuses on what our families and children need most: good teachers and providing safe and effective schools. When I think about the state of our state, I imagine what it can be: a government committed to accountability and affordability. How do we make Rhode Island the state we all envision? It starts with effectiveness, efficiency, and accountability. We need an independent office of Inspector General. With 70% of Rhode Islanders in support, this bipartisan solution is not a new idea. It would provide independent oversight, ensuring accountability and efficiency in state government. It would investigate, detect, and prevent fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement of public funds. This is a common sense, overdue solution we can act on right now. RIPEC's report stated it best. Rhode Island does not have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. In order to get Rhode Island back on the right track, we need to address our spending, how it's grown wildly from $9.9 billion to $14 billion over the last 5 years. With a projected $330 million structural deficit, desperate times call for bold action. I'm calling on the governor's administration to thoroughly evaluate each department's budget and identify areas where spending can be reduced, aiming for significant cuts where feasible. While I understand that not every department can manage a 10% reduction, we must prioritize cutting waste and inefficiencies across the board. Just as families must reassess their budgets and make tough choices, our state government must do the same. If we fail to act now, this deficit could grow to $680 million per year by 2030. And for a state our size, that level of overspending is simply unacceptable. Our state budget is bloated, and it needs to be put on a diet. But this fiscal diet will bring about a healthier, more efficient, and stronger state government. Getting Rhode Island's fiscal house in order can mean job creation and enhanced economic competitiveness. Companies like to locate and expand in states that have good schools, make the most productive and innovative use of their resources, provide a competitive tax environment, and most critically, have a stable fiscal environment. The honest state of our state is bleak, but our state motto is hope. And I hope that our governor and state leaders will see that Rhode Island is at a critical crossroads to determine the overall health of our state for decades to come. My hope is that they will make the right decision and that we are patient through the tough road ahead. I'd like to conclude my comments tonight by remembering Jimmy Carter. While I don't agree with his policies, President Carter showed us all how to lead a life of public service while giving thanks to a caring and almighty God. May his example inspire us to get back to our own communities in ways big and small. Thank you. May God bless you. May God bless Rhode Island and the United States of America.